Hello, good morning. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about the different modes of operation of the thyristor converter, and we understood that it can be configured to operate in 4-quadrant mode, meaning that the load will receive from the thyristor converter voltage in the positive direction, voltage in the negative direction. That is done essentially by change of firing angle, and then it can take current uh, in positive direction as well as current in the negative direction. For the current in the negative direction, we need another anti-parallel thyristor. Okay, so uh, what would be done is that depending upon the voltage requirement, you will fire the thyristor, and this firing will be done to both the thyristors, both the forward thyristor and the reverse thyristor. However, based on the load current means the current in the load side DC inductor. Based on the direction of the current there, either the forward thyristor will conduct or the reverse thyristor will conduct. It is very simple, no complicated thing. You, without any consideration, depending upon the voltage requirement, you just fire the thyristor, and you fire both the thyristors without knowing who will conduct. The conduction will be decided by the load current direction, and one will conduct and the other will not conduct. Okay, but the non-conducting thyristor also will see 0 voltage because the parallel thyristor is conducting 0 or slightly, you may say, negative voltage, slightly negative voltage, which is good for it to remain in non-conduction. So don't confuse yourself that current is going through both the thyristors. Current is going through either through the forward thyristor or through the backward thyristor. But this way, this configured in this way, we have constructed a 4-quadrant operation of the thyristor bridge. Now let me define a few things which are essential when we are dealing with thyristor converter. So let me define. This is a thyristor converter for, and we have considered so far only continuous conduction. So in order to make this issue that it is a continuous conduction mode, I just connect the load as if it is a current source. I connect the load as if it is a current source, just implying that it is in continuous conduction. So this is this load current, you can think that it is now ID, capital ID, implying it is a constant current source. It is implying a so what we are doing here is we are simply ignoring, we are taking the fact that it is in continuous conduction mode, giving it more importance and ignoring the ripple. So this way we get some clarity in clarity and simplicity in the operation. Okay, and using this simple model that load is like a current source, you already know that as such nothing is directly available as a current source. Here the load with a heavy inductor. Load is essentially consisting of R, L and C, but the inductor is so heavy, so large, that the ripple in the current ID, small id, is neglected. Right? Ripple, ignore the ripple in small id. Load is still, you may think that it is consisting of R, L and Vc, that you can think that, but LD is large, but L is large. So with that we take this assumption that the load is as if a current source, and you know as a current source which decides only current. So the voltage across it can be positive and negative. You already know the basic definition. The voltage across it can be positive or it can be negative. So I have no limitation as far as the firing angle is concerned. The thyristor firing angle, I can do such a thing greater than 90 degree and produce negative voltage as well. So that is not a constraint. This is IAC, AC current. This is VAC. Now we have already, when we sketch the VAC and IAC, we have already done it. Let me do it one more time. And what will be the current waveform? The current waveform will be based on the firing angle. Let us say firing angle is this. This is the current, AC current, right? DC current is flat, right? So the AC current is a rectangular waveform, right? So this is the current IAC. Its level is how much? Its level is IDC, which is nothing but the ID. Sorry, let me write it ID. This magnitude is ID, okay? And the firing angle is, in this case, is alpha, and this is the supply voltage VAC. So this will be the this thing, and it is conducting, as you all know, that under continuous conduction this will go from alpha to pi plus alpha. This angle will be, this is alpha, then this is pi plus alpha, and as you know by our naming convention, TH1, TH2, TH3 and TH4, we already know that here the fellows that are conducting at TH1, TH4, which is then turned off by the firing of TH2 and TH3 and so on and so forth. It will continue to operate like that. Now we define a few things. First we define a quantity which we call displacement factor. We define this quantity which is called displacement factor. Okay, you first look at the English. The displacement factor, displacement word is important here. It is essentially trying to say how much the current is displaced with respect to the voltage. That is what it is trying to. That means it is somewhat like, eventually we will get it somewhat like cos alpha. Cos alpha will be the this thing, because alpha, by alpha angle, the current is displaced with respect to the voltage 0 is here. Okay, current is displaced. Now which current? So that is what is clearly defining it, because the current waveform is non-sinusoidal. The first thing we observe here is that the voltage waveform is sinusoidal, but the AC waveform, AC current waveform is not sinusoidal. That is the observation we make. And after making the observation, we are bringing out this factor, displacement factor, which is essentially trying to bring in the factor alpha and in the form of a cosine function, cos alpha. So what we will define cos alpha as, or displacement factor as, is the input power. It is the input power. Input power means actual power. So what should I say? Input real power. Real power. How is input real power? P in defined as P in instantaneous form, we define it as VAC into IAC, both of them. So what is the P in average strength is 1 by T by 2, T is the period. So 2 by T, right, into 0 to T, right, V VAC into IAC dt, right. So this is the input power. You just integrate, because it's a periodic waveform, you need to only integrate for half the period. So you integrate, and whatever the value you are getting, it is the displacement, it is the input power V in into I in, and and it is integrated over that period, right. Input real power divided by input voltage. I am writing again, but it is need not be written. Acha, I won't write it because you already know what it is. Input voltage RMS value of the input voltage into fundamental. Here you have to notice fundamental component of input, fundamental component of input current. Now, where is the fundamental component of input current? Fundamental component of the input current, you know the qualitatively, it is here. This is the AC component of the current. Fundamental component. Fundamental means it has the same frequency as the original waveform. So this is the right. So this is the fundamental component. So now, yeah.
Sir, like for calculating input real power, why did you integrate for only half of the period?
Is it not same? Is it not same for the next half? Is it not same? You see that input voltage is reversing and current is also reversing, just the same thing. If you look at it, the waveform, here in this first portion, the voltage is positive and the current is negative, right? And in the next portion, means here, after pi, you can see the input voltage is negative, but the current is positive, but the durations are same, right? And here what you see, the voltage is positive and the current is positive. And here what is happening? Voltage is negative and current is negative, but two negatives make a positive quantity. So eventually these two things will be same. It is a half wave symmetric waveform. So why should we, man, if you want you can do it, but you will get the double value.
Okay.
Is it not?
We will get the same value.
We'll get the same value. In the positive cycle and negative cycle, we will get the same value. So the average value will remain the same. If you take the full period, average value will remain the same. If you add x plus x, positive cycle x plus negative cycle x, but the time is now t. Okay, what I am doing is x by t by 2. That is the type of thing I am doing. You can do x plus x by t. I have done x by t by 2. So they will be the same. So the average calculation, we don't need to, because the waveform is symmetric. There is no difference in positive cycle and negative cycle. So this quantity, input real power, which is nothing but the integration of the actual current and the actual voltage. Actual current is easy to integrate because it's like a constant. It is easy to integrate. You can easily integrate because I have taken it as a reflection of a current source. I have taken it. That's what I said. I am simplifying here, just to give you the essence of it. Okay. So if it is not so, you have to integrate a slightly a quantity which has a little bit of ripple. What you otherwise it will happen. Some ripple will be there in the current waveform. Some ripple will be there. Some ripple will be there. That doesn't matter. You have to just take little pain to integrate. But let us not do that. Let us take that the current waveform is a flat and constant, right? Like taking the load as a this thing. So so that is the thing. So displacement factor, now you can see that input real power, we already know input real power, whatever may be the current waveform, is nothing but what? If I know from our network understanding, if the voltage waveform is sinusoidal and if the current waveform has lot of harmonics, okay, so voltage waveform is sinusoidal, current waveform has not only fundamental component but other harmonic component. But what is the power? You know that this is power is equal to what? Power is equal to V in fundamental into I in both cases RMS fundamental, and cosine of the angle between V in fundamental F means fundamental component, or suffix let me write, otherwise you will be thinking differently. V in F, I in F. F means fundamental component, and cosine of the angle between V in and I in F. That will be the thing. You already know that if original waveform, but V in is already, it is known that it is already sinusoidal. There is no distortion here. Sinusoidal at frequency F. Okay. So I in, I have to take I in as such is non-sinusoidal. I in actually, sorry, not this one. I in is non-sinusoidal. I in as such is non-sinusoidal. I can divide I in as a equal to I in fundamental component, but I in all the other harmonic components, maybe third plus I in this and that, fifth plus dot 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 dot, I can divide in that. Okay. I should use, if in order to make it mathematically correct, I should use small I in. This is small I in. This is small I in. This is capital means RMS component. So let me write it as a small I. Small I means this will be like, if I express, I will write root 2 I in fundamental sine of omega t. Third harmonic I will write root 2 I in suffix capital I in suffix 3 sine of 3 omega t plus some angle alpha in general, right? However, all those higher harmonic components will not matter in the power equation. Power equation comes only as a product between two voltage and current components which are of the same frequency, right? Then only it comes. Had the voltage also had a third harmonic component, then you should have taken the third harmonic component of current into consideration. But since it is assumed that the voltage has only sinusoidal component, it has no higher harmonic component, we are only taking the fundamental component of the current and its RMS value, and then our the first year knowledge is coming into play, and the cosine angle between this and this. It so happens that this angle is our firing angle alpha. So displacement factor is cos alpha. This is what is the definition of the displacement factor, where alpha is the firing angle. Therefore, firing angle is directly related to the displacement factor expression cos alpha, right? So I hope you have understood the I hope you have understood the meaning of displacement factor. But is there no power factor definition? Yes, there will be a power factor definition, and that power factor is defined as this. So now you yourself can define power factor. Power factor, top part will be the same, that is the input real power okay, divided by V RMS. I am not writing again because this is already known as fundamental component, only fundamental component, only I mean this is actually sinusoid. I will write this there is no change here because this itself is a sinusoidal component, so that you have no confusion. Sinusoidal, sinusoidal. However, the current will be IRMS, not fundamental. The current that actually is flowing through that current's fundamental component, that's current RMS value you have to consider. So what is that IRMS? Let me write it then fully. I in is equal to, basically if I do the Fourier analysis, I will write I in is equal to I in first is fundamental root 2 I in fundamental sine of omega t plus root 2 I in 3 sine of 3 omega t. Since it is half wave symmetric, it will not have any even harmonics here. So then root 2 I in 5 sine of 5 omega t, etc., etc. So all the odd harmonics, all the odd harmonic components. So what is the RMS value of this? What is the RMS value of I in RMS? What is it? What is the RMS value of this? That will be, you already know that all component RMSs square plus I in 3 square plus I in 5 square. These are all individual RMSs plus dot 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 square root, right? So if you bring it out, I in F outside, it will be something like 1 plus I in 3 by I in F. Let me write it V in so that I relate it more clearly. I in 3F plus square plus I in 5 by I in 5. F is fundamental, square, so on and so forth, right? So what is the thing then here this expression implying? This power factor expression is implying that input real power, we already know what is input real power. What we know is that then power factor is equal to power factor. We know that it is equal to V in RMS into I in fundamental. That is the RMS value, I in fundamental, into into cosine of alpha, that you know, divided by then I in fundamental, and sorry, divided by, first is V, first is V in fundamental into I in fundamental into this factor 1 plus this I in 3 by I in f square plus dot 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 dot. Right? Is any question? Yeah, somebody?
Yes, sir. The RMS value of the input current, like we can directly calculate it from the graph only, right? The graph is like, it's pretty simple. It's a square wave.
Yeah, you can, in this case you can calculate directly. There is no point, but when the current is not that simple, you may have to do Fourier analysis and find out. Okay, so in this case it is just, since it is just a rectangular wave, you can easily find out what is the RMS value of this current. In fact, it is ID. It is ID by ID is the RMS value of this current. Okay, so that is true, but not in all cases. So in general, if the current has harmonics, then you have to calculate it in this manner, right? So you see that this V in fundamental, this quantity is V in RMS and V in fundamental are same. There is no difference. Input voltage RMS, here also it is the, since it is average power in fundamental, so this two quantities cancel, these two quantities also cancel. So we are saying that the power factor is equal to a quantity which is, this is the displacement factor, divided by a quantity like this, a ratio, that is I in 3 by I in f square plus I in 5 by I in f this thing square plus dot 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 dot. So we say that displacement factor, the cos alpha is nothing but displacement factor. So we say that displacement factor is equal to power factor. No, sorry, the reverse way. Okay, let me write it like that. Into power factor. No, let me change the x-axis and y-axis. Now, this quantity that is 1 by this quantity, that will be called distortion factor. So this is equal to cos alpha into distortion factor. So we get an expression that this is equal to displacement factor into distortion factor, because it is representing the distortion in the current. This factor is representing 1 by 1 plus this. If the current has no distortion, then this number will be 1. This number will be 1. If the input current is also sinusoidal, then all the harmonic components will be 0. This part, I in 3, I in 5, all of them will be 0. So therefore this factor will boil down to, distortion factor will be equal to 1. Otherwise there will be distortion factor which is less than 1, which is which may be 0.8, 0.9, 0.7, and looking at this number, you will realize that the amount of harmonics that is present in the actual waveform. Okay, so this is displacement factor into distortion factor. Okay, so this is the way you qualify, you express the current in a quantifying manner. Okay, the distortion in the current, the nature of the current, you can express in this way, and therefore we have now two. So far we have mostly in our power system analysis, we only have learned about power factor. But in thyristor converter, we are going into another factor called displacement factor, which by English name itself, you will know that it is cos alpha, because alpha is the firing angle and current is initiated at that point. The current waveform in the circuit is coming at that instant, after alpha, right? So this is why it is called, I hope you understand that the current is not stopping here, current is continuous, right? The fundamental current is continuous. So this current, you to quantify that current, the actual current is ID, and to quantify that current, we need not only the fundamental component but also quite a few harmonic components, and therefore we are getting this quantity called distortion factor. Distortion factor implying that what is the ratio between fundamental current and the actual current. What is the ratio between fundamental current RMS and the actual current RMS, right? So distortion is this. Distortion factor is equal to fundamental current RMS divided by actual current RMS. Okay. Now, in our specific case, how much it will be? Can anybody tell what will be this value in this specific case, means current source case? What is the actual current RMS?
The distortion factor will be 1.
ID into root over 1 minus alpha by 2 pi.
No, not 1. Why it will be 1? What will be the actual current?
Sorry, it won't be.
Sir, the actual current, like RMS, comes to be ID into root over 1 minus alpha by 2 pi.
Why? Why actual current is this thing? Actual current RMS is why such a complicated expression? Actual current is ID. So what will be the RMS of that value? Actual current waveform is green. What is the RMS value of this waveform? What will be the RMS value of this waveform? Hello, please. If you cannot tell this, it's a very shocking thing. What is the RMS? Not calculating. Without any.
It's ID only.
It is ID only. Right? It is ID only. Because it is a constant. It is a constant. So ID only. And what is the fundamental current? From your second year knowledge, what is the fundamental current component of this current? 4 by pi. Okay. How much is that? ID by root 2. Right? What is the peak of a sine wave coming out of square? What is that? You have studied that 4 into this 4 VTC by n pi. We call it 4 VTC by n pi. That is the peak. So RMS is 4 n is equal to 1. Right? Do you not remember the formula? 4 VTC by n pi. We fundamental component for sine for a square waveform. We remember that n is the nth harmonic component. So 4 n is equal to 1 fundamental RMS current. So 4 by pi ID by root 2. So ID by ID cancels. So it is 4 by pi by root 2. So how much is it? 4 by pi by root 2. 4 divided by shift pi divided by root over of 2. Yeah, 0.900. So everybody remembers this number. So that is equal to 0.9. Almost everybody by heart, any power electronic engineer remembers this number. Because of this reason, mostly the current waveform, we ignore sometimes a small ripple because that doesn't make much sense in calculating so accurately. Assuming that the reflected current is almost like a square wave, right? If the since the load we are assuming it to be in the continuous conduction mode, then we say that the distortion factor of the current is 0.9. That is the distortion. Okay, distortion factor of the current is 0.9. If both of them become sinusoidal, that the reflected current is also sinusoidal, which will not happen in a thyristor converter, this number will be different. This number will be 1. Okay, so this is called distortion factor. Take the English first. Take the English distortion, that is fundamental component divided by the actual current RMS. Fundamental current RMS divided by the actual current RMS. So we get a formula that power factor is now the displacement factor into the distortion factor. Power factor is equal to displacement factor, as I have written here, into the distortion factor. Displacement factor, as the name suggests, is cos alpha. Alpha is the angle, this is cos alpha. What is the definition? Displacement factor. Displacement factor is calculating power, actual power through integration, actual power divided by V RMS, which is nothing but V fundamental RMS. We are always assuming the supply system is sinusoidal, into I fundamental RMS. Okay, and we know that under such situation, if the voltage is fundamental, the power is actually transferred through the fundamental current component only. Other power is circulating, implying the power is sometimes going to the from the AC to DC, and other instant is coming back, like our reactive power. Okay, so our expression therefore in a sinusoidal voltage supply system is dependent only on the fundamental component of the current. So you can calculate power from that point of view. One point of view is by integration, which is not so difficult in this case because the current shape is ID. Okay, or the other component is by calculating the fundamental component of the current. So that into fundamental component of the current into cosine of the angle, cosine of the firing angle alpha. So cos alpha is now implying a new thing called a displacement factor, because here the power you are defining in terms of the fundamental component. But the original old definition of power, that the first is the average real power obtained through integration divided by VRMS. VRMS here will be V fundamental RMS, but even if it is not so, the definition will not change. VRMS into the RMS of the current, RMS value component. So here in this specific thyristor converter case, this RMS component has not only fundamental component inside, but third, fifth, and all other components inside. So this is what is the RMS value of the current. I in RMS is equal to fundamental into a factor comes 1 plus this plus this. That means it is increasing. Input current RMS value is increasing. RMS value is increasing compared to the fundamental current RMS value. Though the power is actually getting transferred only through the fundamental component. Other current is unnecessary. That's why it is called a distortion. It is not a desirable thing. But thyristor, this is what you are learning. Thyristor converter is good, but not so good from the input side, because input side current has now become of the shape which is non-sinusoidal shape, a rectangular shape. Okay, preferably we always like the input current also to be shaped like a sine wave, but it is not possible. Thyristor converter can only regulate the output voltage, VDC, a V rectifier. That means it can only produce the voltage that you require at the load, but it cannot dictate, or it cannot shape, better word is shape, it cannot shape the input current. That is what its limitation is. In higher, this, yes, any question?
Sir, like in this case, you've used a constant current source in the load side, right? So, like in the earlier case, like if we use a R and L, in that case, distortion will be less, right?
Distortion will be less. Yes, yes, distortion will be less. Right. So you have come to understand the limitation of a thyristor converter. The limitation of the thermistor converter is that it cannot shape the input current. You are passing the harmonics to the input current. And better converters, you will learn later, which are IGBT based converters. This may not be in this course, but in some higher level courses, is called a front end converter or front end rectifier. It will be shaped like an inverter, and they will be switching many times. You understand why it is not able to shape the current, because thyristor is not switching many times within the period. Okay, it is switching in synchronism with the line frequency. It is switches here and here, right? Two ends, alpha and 180 degree plus alpha. At these 2 points it switches. Okay, so it doesn't have much to do in between. But in order to shape the current like a sine wave, the desirable shape is a sine wave. If you want to do shape like a sine wave, you have to switch many times in between. In between, you have to switch the thyristor converter. Not thyristor converter, whatever converter you are using. But thyristor is not suitable for that kind of switching, because the problem of what will come? Problem of commutation will come. Only for commutation, we have to wait till it comes to this end, because then the input voltage has come to negative. In between, I cannot turn off the thyristor TH1 and TH4 by turning on TH2 and TH3, right? Our trick is that the input voltage has now become negative, and we can afford to turn off the thyristor, right? So I will now tell you a little bit variations of this thyristor converter that are called semi-bridge converter. Okay, so little bit variations, and you also can commonsensically think about these variations. That is a variation where that is a combination of thyristor and diode. Okay, not all four devices are thyristors. Some of them are diodes. So that is called semi-bridge. Not, I think that is what the name. You can check in the book. Semi-bridge converters. It is a hybrid kind of converter. Some of them are thyristors and some of them are diodes. So let me draw one leg with thyristor and another leg with diode, and let us observe what would be the difference. Let us consider continuous conduction, and let us consider a current source here itself. Let us say I consider a current source in this side, right? And this, let us name them TH1, TH2, D3 and D4. So what way? And thyristor 1 is fired at an angle alpha. So what will be the thing? Always try to sketch it. Sketching will make your thought process very clear. So let us sketch it. I have turned on the thyristor here, right? Let us say this angle is alpha. Thyristor, which thyristor? TH1. I have no control over D4, D3, and I know TH2 will be fired here. This is where when the TH1, let me put a pulse. This is when TH1 will be fired, and after 180 degree, we will be firing TH2. These two things I have, but the diode is an uncontrolled device, right? So diode will not be deciding when to conduct by itself. No external force can decide it, right? So let us first draw. Let us first see what we know. What is comfortable here? First of all, I know that let us not start from 0. Let us start from this duration. Let us start from beyond alpha. Let us start from here. So here, who will conduct? Like as usual, the thyristor 1 will conduct, and the current will be returning through the diode. Okay, it cannot be any other device. You can argue that TH2 is not yet turned on, and D3, why D3 will not conduct is, when D3 conducts, then how the current is, how does the current flow? When the ID current has to be continuous. So ID current will take the path of D4, because TH2 is off. It has to take a path. It will take a path of D4, and the moment it takes, you may say, why not D4 and D3? Okay, I will show that the moment it takes D4, the voltage across the diode D3, is now reverse biased, because this voltage TH1 conducts, this voltage is positive and this voltage is negative. So the moment D4 conducts, D3 is incapable of conducting. It must be in the off state. D4 on implies D3 off, or that that is what it is implying in this case, right? So here I will say that it comes to, initially the fellow who will be conducting is TH1 and D4. It is coming up to this, there is no doubt. Up to 180 degree, we have no doubt. So after that, what happens? TH1 is not yet turned off, right? Let me draw the current also. Let me draw the current also, so that you are clear. So the current, I at least know that the ID current is flowing here. I at least know that ID current is flowing in this chunk. This chunk is starting at alpha and then at pi, right? Okay. So now what will happen? TH1 is still conducting, and however, this time the voltage has become negative, right? The voltage has become, the thyristor voltage, the input voltage is now coming to negative zone. It's now coming to the negative zone. So what will happen? What will happen? By our logic, since the voltage is negative, now suppose TH1 and D4 are conducting and voltage has become negative. So what is happening? Now this voltage is minus and this voltage is plus. So D4 would like to, D3 would be forward biased. And the moment D4 becomes forward biased, okay, so the moment D4 becomes forward biased, D3 becomes forward biased. So what is then likely to happen? D3 will be conducting, right? And if D3 is conducting, then what is happening? If D3 conducts, then what happens?
D4 won't.
D4 won't looks like that. So if D4 doesn't conduct and D3 conducts, then what is happening? What will happen? What will happen?
So like if D3 conducts, then at that moment the voltage across D3 like will become zero, right? Like if it starts conducting.
Yes. D3 will immediately become zero. D3 will conduct, and it will the voltage across this is zero. So then what is that happening? Then what will happen? TH2 is no more in the business. We have to decide which other device will be conducting. Is there any change possible in TH1? Assuming D3 is conducting. Think that assuming D3 is conducting, is there any change possible in TH1? Is there any change possible? I am asking why TH1 will not turn off. Why TH1 will not turn off?
So like TH1 will become reverse biased like at that moment.
Yeah, the TH1 will become reverse biased, and TH1 is not feeling any need to conduct because the ID current can now flow through D3. It has no compulsion that it has to maintain ID current. Earlier it had the compulsion. It had to maintain the ID current. But the moment the voltage has become negative, D4 as such is telling it that, okay, you D3 can afford to be forward biased. Okay, so D3 conducts and that turns off TH1. Okay, but the current ID has to be continuous. So what is the way out?
D4 will conduct.
D4 will conduct. So basically the thing that will conduct is D3 and D4 will freewheel. This current is now freewheeling. Okay, and this freewheeling current is essentially keeping TH1 turned off.
This means the input current will be zero, like at that point.
Yes, at that point the input current will be zero. Input current till TH2 again is fired. This input current is zero. Now TH2 has been fired. If TH2 has been fired, who can afford to turn off? Suppose I have fired, why TH2 will turn on? First, let us see whether TH2 is positive or not prior to turn on. Prior to turn on, is TH2 positive? Because the voltage here is in the negative cycle, here negative. So you see, through D4, it is coming plus minus. So TH2 is ready to turn off. So the moment this thyristor has been given a pulse, TH2 will be happily conducting. And the moment TH2 has conducted, okay, so TH2 has conducted means this has become 0. Okay, okay. So what is then the voltage across D4? D4 voltage is plus here, and through TH2 conducting, this minus terminal is coming here. That means D4 will be reverse biased then. Reverse biased. This will immediately go into.
Can you say this point again, like how D4 is reverse biased?
Okay. Okay. First, initial state is D3, D4 conducting. D3, D4 conducting. That is the state, and this is negative. And then at this instant, we turn on TH2. What happens? I have given a firing pulse, but I have to check whether TH2 can afford to conduct. So let us see under this condition, when D3 and D4 are on, this thyristor cathode terminal is negative, or anode terminal, this is positive terminal, right? It is the positive terminal, and through, because D4 is conducting, this terminal is positive. So it is forward biased. Forward biased. And the moment the thyristor is given a firing pulse, this one given a firing pulse, it will say, I will conduct. It will say, I will conduct, no problem, because I was forward biased and I am this. Then the moment it has conducted, this voltage has collapsed to 0. It is not blocking any voltage or taking the burden of any voltage. So this voltage, when it has become 0, the negative terminal has now come to this point, diode cathode, the negative terminal, because it has conducted, and plus terminal is connected to the anode. And I know that in this situation, this will be therefore reverse biased, because the cathode is seeing plus and the anode is seeing minus. So diode D4 will say, well, I will turn off, because you have turned on TH2, and by turning on TH2 you have made me reverse biased. Okay, so I will happily this thing. Load has any complaint? No, load will say, no, I will not complain, because I am getting a return path. I am now getting a return path to TH2. So the current now will be going through D3 like this, this terminal D3, and then return back to TH2 to this. So the current is reversed to the direction of ID. The current direction has become reverse. Have you understood or not? Shall I say it again, or you have understood?
Yes, I understood, sir.
Understood. Right. So what will happen? A negative current will now start flowing here. Right. So this portion, who is conducting? TH2 and D3. This portion, who is conducting? TH1 and D4. This is the input current, IAC. This is the input current, right? This is VAC. This is the input current. So what are you seeing here? So what we are seeing here is that, and we have understood that this portion who conducts? This portion who conducts? D3, D4. And this portion who will conduct? Again, we know that D3, D4, right? So overall, if I want to see the conduction pattern, when the diode 4 is conducting, this portion 0 to pi, diode 4 is conducting. And when is the other fellow conducting? Right, this is pi to 2 pi. Who will be conducting? This is D3 conducting. So what looks like it? It looks like the diode is nothing but a thyristor fired at angle 0 degree. Alpha is equal to 0 degree. As if it is alpha is equal to 0 degree, it is being fired. Right? Alpha is equal to 0, you are firing. Thyristor you are firing at alpha, whatever at alpha, finite alpha, 30, 40, whatever it is. But as far as the diode is concerned, diode is nothing but as if the device has been fired at an angle alpha. Is it not? And it is commonsensical, right? Diode has no thyristor, no gate, so it will not depend on anything, it will only depend on the circuit condition, and the circuit condition says that you are getting forward biased at 0 degree of the supply voltage. So as if it is fired at 0 degree. So it will maintain this kind of characteristics. So let us take another equivalent, and you know how the thyristor 1 is conducting now for less time. Thyristor 1 is now conducting for pi, alpha to pi. Okay, and diodes are conducting for what duration? Sorry, I made a mistake. Diode, I am sorry, I have made a mistake. D4 is conducting more because D3, D4 is covering a common zone. I am sorry. This is a common zone. It is not just pi degree, it is pi plus alpha. So diode conducts for pi plus alpha, both D3 pi plus alpha, D4 for pi plus alpha, because there is a overlap zone. When D3 and D4, two overlap zones are there. Here one overlap zone, here one overlap zone. So it is not only pi plus alpha. Similarly, D3 will conduct for pi plus alpha. So this is an overlap zone. So it will not only conduct for this, but will conduct for this zone as well. Yeah.
So like since instead of two thyristors here we have used two diodes, like shouldn't we lose some control on the output voltage due to this reason?
Definitely. You tell me what control we have lost. Quickly tell me. Just look at this and what control we have lost. We have lost the control to produce any negative voltage. So here, very good. Vrect is always greater than 0. We cannot produce negative voltage. So load has to be consistent with that. You cannot expect any negative voltage to be produced, which essentially means what? In my opinion, it means that reverse power flow is not possible. It will be only taking power from AC side to DC side. Otherwise, we could have produced some negative power as well. Okay, so V rectifier, we cannot get a negative instantaneous negative voltage at any time. And the average voltage of Vd is always this thing is greater than 0. Okay, so that is the difference, because when the two diodes are conducting, it is shorting the load. V rectifier is becoming 0. When D3 D4 conducts, then V rectifier is equal to 0. Instantaneous value is 0. Okay, so that is what also you have to. This voltage shape is now only this chunk of the voltage and then 0, then this chunk of the voltage and then 0, then 0. That is the rectified voltage. That is the rectified voltage you will get. This is Vrect. Okay, so you are losing control. You are losing some controls, or sometimes people use it for simplicity because they don't have to use a thyristor driving circuit, etc., etc. And suppose you need only positive voltage at the load, you don't bother too much. I will draw a dual circuit of that, and you yourself analyze that. I'll just draw a dual circuit of that. You will see who conducts for what. decide who will conduct for when and how much duration. Earlier I said dual. Earlier diode conducted for more time. Here you may see that thyristor is conducting for more time. I am expecting TH1, TH3 will conduct for pi plus alpha, and diode will conduct for less time. You shall see whether that is true or not. Sorry. So this is the circuit, and you will be able to analyze it. I think no problem. We will not be having no any problem. The start with that this firing angle is alpha, and this is fired at pi plus alpha. So how the diode will conduct? What will be the input current? Please sketch that. What will be the input current? Sketch IAC, direct, IT2, ID4, ITH3, TH1. These things you sketch, and this thing. So I will stop here.